Well, hello friends, it's Wayne Polson coming to you from Heartwood, right next door to SM Heartland. How in the world are you doing? I hope you're doing great out there, folks. The last video I put out was the first part of a multi-part video series about putting up a pole building right here in the back of our garage. If you haven't seen that video yet, you can click up on the link here, go watch that or watch it later. But in that video, I was doing some discussion about what needs to be done on this property. I have a building site here where this northeast corner that I'm standing in right now is going to need a little bit more excavating. And part of that process is going to be removing trees like this one here. I want to rewind a little bit though to a couple videos ago, and it might have even been a text message that I got from Terry White. Terry said, "Hey Wayne, is it possible for a future video that you could put some rigging techniques into your future videos?" And I thought, well, that's a great idea. I always love content ideas. So I thought, sure enough, why not do that? Well, so in the process of taking this tree down, and this is not a huge tree, but it was a problem tree for a couple of reasons. But before I get into the details of that, let me just state this up front, okay? Because well, I'll tell you why in a second. First of all, I want to say I'm not a professional. I'm not an expert by any means. I just have learned a lot of things through the process of doing them, and I also watch a lot of videos, a lot of YouTube videos. I watch other people do tree work and rigging, and I've learned a lot from those people. The videos I watch are usually put out by professional arborists. Not all of them. Some of them just are long-time tree workers, and they have developed techniques that are safe and effective and efficient. I've also read some books, and so I think I'm knowledgeable about the subject. I just may not have all of the lifetime experience that a lot of people have, and I don't have maybe all the exact terminology. So I just want to put that out there right now because I get a lot of, I shouldn't say I get a lot, but whenever I do videos like this that are about a specific topic, I'll get people out there who are experts and pros in the field. They'll see the video somehow, somewhere, and then they'll start attacking me for like, oh, you know, you think you're a pro, you know, well, that's not the way you really do that. And you know, that's not what that's called. And, you know, and they're just ragging on me. And I'm like, okay, delete. I just delete those comments because they're non-productive. So if there are critics out there, I do love to see comments that will correct my errors in a nice way, in a kind way, and that will show me better ways to improve my techniques or to add to my repertoire of tricks and tips. I'm always looking forward to that, but just leave the ragging aside, okay? I can't stomach it. On the far end, if all you got to say in the comments is, "Hey Wayne, really love your content, man, keep it up, you're doing a great job," pour it on, man. I'm all for it. Let it rip. So when it came up to cutting this tree down, one of the things I noticed about this that concerned me was that if I were to cut this tree at ground level, I was afraid that this tree would fall into some high voltage power lines right next to my garage here. I forget how high they are, 20 feet maybe. And this tree was probably, I would say it measures probably 40 to 45 feet, something like that. So the reason I cut it off like this high, like 5 feet off the ground, is because that would shorten the tree's fall distance by 5 feet. So the tip of the tree is going to be farther away from those power lines. That's it. That's the reason I did this. Then secondly, what I noticed about this tree was that it was pretty heavily entangled in the canopy above me. So I knew that I was going to have to apply some kind of force to this tree. It wasn't going to fall on gravity. I was going to need some kind of rigging. And it could have been something as simple as tying a rope up in the tree, attaching the other end of my tractor, and pulling it over once I got the face cut and started doing the back cut, just pull it over. But I didn't want to be attached physically in any way to this tree because if for some reason it did brush those power lines there, I would be toast. So I didn't want to do that. I needed some way to get away from the tree and still apply pressure to it. So I used some rigging techniques. So that's about all I have to say about this before we start the video. So if you guys like the video, I'd appreciate you watch the whole thing all the way through, and I'll come back when this is done and just say a few words as I always do. So let's go to the video right now, shall we? I'm out here in the the general area where we're going to build this pole building. And this is a tree right here that's got to go. We got to take this thing out. What I'm going to do with this one, if you notice, it's got a back lean. Okay, it's got a back lean, but probably about halfway up, it starts to curve back this way again. But then there are a lot of branches from other trees around it that are interfering, and I need to drop it this way. I can't go back in this direction. It's going to get real hung up if I do that. Out here, my landing zone is going to be right here, and you can see I've got my tractor and I've got a line going up into the tree, probably about 2/3, 3/4 of the way up, and I'm redirecting it from my tractor back to a tree behind me. And that redirect, let me show that to you here, comes down to this tree, and it will be going through this device called a Maasdam Rope Puller. This device will allow me to pre-tension the tree for one. I'll be able to take up all the slack and put some tension in the tip of the tree as I make my face cut. And then it'll allow me to pull this tree over. I'm going to leave kind of a wide hinge on the tree so that it has to go quite a ways before it's going to break off. Hopefully, we'll see. I've got to clear, I don't know if you can see them in the video or not, but I've got to clear these high voltage lines here. That's the reason I'm kind of taking it at an angle across the lot toward the tractor. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this thing high on the stump. I'm going to be making my cut probably about here, about 5 feet. That's my plan. Now I've got a rope here, Terry. This rope is the other end of the rope that's going into the canopy. It's not tied up in the canopy. I'm going to tie it here at the base. This is called a basal anchor. So what I'm going to do is take my rope around the back side, and I'm going to capture that rope just like this. I'm going to tie a bowline. This is a running bowline. And that's going to go all the way up into that tree like that. And as this tensions, this will get tighter because it's like a slip knot, okay? I'm going to go ahead and take this up as high as I can here. So back here at the Maasdam, I'm going to go ahead and start feeding this thing. This takes a 3-strand rope, a 1/2 inch 3-strand rope. You got to feed it through this little eye here, then into the pulley, or this is probably called a windlass, folks, just so you know. All right. And this Maasdam is going to give me about a, I forget what it is. Is it 10-to-1? I'm not exactly sure. I forget. It's a good mechanical advantage. I think I can get 1,500 pounds of pull. This is the only downside, is you have to feed your excess line through it to get all the slack out. Can y'all see this? You probably can't. I'm sorry. Here's this. All right, so if I get out in front of it and pull on this, I can do a better job of getting the slack out. So let me get out in front here. Pull. All right, so that's got pretty much all the slack out of it. So all I need to do now is get the amount of pre-tension in that I want. So I'm watching the top of the tree and just getting it loaded so that it can't fall backwards when I do my back cut. It can't sit on the back cut. So you can see my redirect coming from the tractor and then going back up to the top of the tree here. So let's get to cutting. All right, I'm going to put some more tension on it. All right, now I'm going to leave that hinge pretty wide, and I'm going to see if I can go ahead and pull it over. All right, I'm going to start pulling on the Maasdam over here. Let's check my hinge. I might take a little bit more of that. All right. It's hung up in this maple right here. There it goes. Nice. Okay. Very happy with that. Perfect. GoPro, you want to see how perfect it was? Right there. We cleared those lines. Everybody's happy. All right, so Terry, and the reason, and for all of you other viewers, the reason I cut this so high up on the stump was to shorten the fall length of this sassafras. You notice it fell here, and if I had that extra 5 feet or 6 feet, it would have fallen 6 feet further out this direction here. And as I look up above me, right here are the power lines that we were trying to avoid, and we successfully dodged those. That's why I cut it high in the stump. I wanted the hinge to be thick so that it would have to fall for a long time before it broke off of the stump. And when I say thick, I had a thick hinge, but I also had a wide open face cut, and that wide open face cut means that there'll be no stress on the hinge until that gap closes, and that would be somewhere around 90+ degrees of fall. So there we go. That's it. All right, so that takes care of the tree. The next step in the process is I got to go ahead and start clearing this area out. I got to get the roots pulled and stuff like that, so I'll bring you in on that later as I get to that part. All right, folks, well, that's about it. I just hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, and if you have a comment, question, concern, anything at all, I'd love to just chat with you about it in the comments below. Put something down there. Let's talk about the things that you saw in the video that you have questions about or concerns, and it's just a great way for us to communicate. If you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you as a subscriber. And if you do subscribe, there's a little bell next to that subscribe button. And what that bell does, when you click on that bell, every time I release a new video, when I upload a video to YouTube, you'll get a notification on your device saying, hey, Wayne Polson just uploaded another video. So that way you won't miss any content, you'll get it on time. Folks, you're the greatest group of people on earth. I'm surrounded by about 2,500 of you. Our central theme on this channel has always been kindness. It always wraps up into kindness. So folks, I'm going to stress it again. Continue to be kind in your neighborhoods. Continue to be kind in your families. That was the pony. And also, be kind to somebody you just can't stand. You'll be glad you did. You ought to see what's going on over there. It's pretty crazy. I think Maverick the dog is harassing the pony. Anyway, that's all I've got for this video, folks. Love you all. Stay kind.